over this past weekend, we found out even though a failed drug test, you can still fight for a belt. If you're a UFC legend, you're still susceptible to leg locks. And if you're a cyborg and walk into a lion's den, you're probably going to lose.
They're here.
Welcome to the Hook J Podcast.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
When it's all said and done, I know one thing that I can do. I can fight. I can give it, and I can take it.
You should have left me over on that other game that I'm from, that more ruthless game where we bounce heads off the canvas and drill them into the floor. You should have left me where I was.
The show starts now.
So UFC 232 happened over the weekend. Let's dive into this storm that happened, this shit bomb that happened over the last week that turned into UFC 232. Big fight everyone's going to talk about. Let's go ahead and get this one out of the way. Is BJ Penn losing to Ryan Hall?
That's the one everybody's going to talk about?
I'm pretty sure. That's the one I found pretty interesting, right?
Compared to the other fights, no, but the leg lock submission was very well executed.
Hopefully,
off a roll.
Yeah, hopefully we don't see like another 2.5 year gap for Ryan Hall. I do enjoy watching him. But sadly, the legend was, he didn't win.
So BJ Penn got leg lock submission, or a heel hook, wasn't it? It was a heel hook.
It was a heel hook.
But it was very, very interestingly executed. Ryan Hall looked like he was going for just
I think it's
a
called
pick.
like an Imura roll. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it.
He looked like he was just going for like an ankle pick, but he ends up rolling.
It's an actual like.
Looks like a John Wick maneuver where he rolls across the floor from pillar to pillar.
Yep.
Does a roll, grabs his ankle, and just rolls him into a heel hook, which was like an instant tap. You see BJ's just face like, God damn it.
It was very, very secure. You did see him try to jet forward and loosen his leg, but as soon as it got down on the mat, it was pretty much over. But yeah, as you were saying, that's not the big news.
I didn't say.
What was the big fight for you?
The big fight for me was the co-main event.
Let's talk about that lastly, because I want to go over the judge, because that's the one I actually want to talk about.
All right, so let's talk about the actual main event.
Yes.
Of course, we're going to talk about Jones versus Gustafsson. Gustafsson.
I've heard it both ways.
So I'm going to call him Gustafsson because it's easy, and I speak English.
You're not Swedish?
No.
Anyway.
Swedish chef now.
So Jones, Gustafsson, Jones and Alex fought. I went to round 2. Was it 2? 3. Round 3?
Should be round 3. Yeah, because I think got him round 3.
Round 3. Anyway, he beat him TKO. Finally got him down on the mat. Got on top of him, full mount. Gustafsson gave up his back. Jones just rained down blows.
Yeah, it was round 3. Okay.
Yeah. That's pretty much how I thought that fight was going to happen. Is Jones
ironically
winning.
a poor fight for Gustafsson.
Yeah,
like he did not show up.
Not at all. Both of them looked really slow, and both of them looked like they showed the fact like they've both been off for a while. They both haven't had fights, and according to the UFC, it's because Jones had a layoff. Had nothing to do with suspension, if you noticed that during the commentary. But yeah, they both had time off, and I think that really affected both of them. Gustafsson had a year and a half. Jones had over 2 years, or almost 2 years.
Almost. He was at 15 months. I think.
So almost the same amount of time, but it still affected both of them pretty much the same. And yeah, Jones went in, and he looked slow compared to his last couple fights.
I mean, he definitely looked better than his OSP fight, his initial return, but he still did not look like the Jones that we know he could be. But then that raises the question: is like, how much juice has he always been on? Yeah,
it's always going to be questioning in his career, like how much, if he was on, if he wasn't on. It's always going to be a debate. And I've recently learned if you post anything pro one fighter or pro another fighter, fans will just throw as much shit as possible at you.
Especially when it comes to Jones.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to Jones.
Yeah.
If you mention DC, they're like, no, DC is not the greatest. No. It's like, all right, guys, relax. We're not talking about the GOAT right now.
Yeah, it's interesting that like MMA fans are like that, especially where they're so passionate about one fighter because he's won, not because of who he is, or they're passionate because the fighter of who he is, but not because he's won like that. It's this really weird basis thing that they do. Like, oh, he's my favorite because he kicks everyone's ass, but he's a piece of shit outside the ring, so I'm gonna root for him. Or he's entertaining in the ring, but he can't win, so I'm gonna root for him. Or this is like it's very touch and go with MMA fans.
I openly admit I do not like Jones. Talent-wise in the ring, though, can't deny it. Like, he's got the talent, but now because he has just got such a bad history of steroid use, drug abuse, popping, pissing hot, we don't know. Like we just have no idea what his career has actually been. How much of Jones has actually been Jones?
So
I think this fight kind of proves it.
So you were on the last podcast we did. What was your opinion on the whole Jeff Novitzky explanation?
There's a lot of science that I'm not even going to pretend to know. Some of it makes sense, just from the common sense standpoint. Some of it doesn't, because I'm just not that intelligent. That's not my field. But for me, okay, let's say everything Jeff said was correct. Everything Jeff said was correct. So that means this is his most recent hot test was because of his previous use, right? So that also means, okay, that maybe his last one was the same thing. Maybe he wasn't on anything when he fought DC. Maybe that was leftover shit. Okay, so you're telling me the fight before that, or the one before that, he was obviously on it then. He's obviously ingested it. It's 100% obvious at this point.
At some point, he did have it in his system. Like, some point, it got into his system somehow.
Okay.
They just don't know how it got in.
But here's the thing. If you don't know how it got in, if you don't know how it got in your system, every test you go forward with is going to pop up. You'd be like, oh, it's still in my system. It's still in my system. Okay, so let's shoot forward 2 more years. All right? It's still the same amount that's showing up randomly every once in a while. Okay. So we just apply that same science to what happened before. So you were obviously taking this beforehand, before you got your first suspension. So that means your entire career beforehand is suspect. Just apply the same logic, but don't apply that same logic if you're a Jones fan.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. Like, I can understand, like, how that kind of makes sense, but I'm not sure. I'm still not sold on the Jeff Novitzky explanation to it, but I'm not 100% like against it if that is true. I'm still gonna make fun of Jones because it's funny, you know. Like, you can't just stop doing it.
My thing is, people are always like, he's undefeated. Okay, well then look at his professional record. He's not undefeated. Well, in his head, he's undefeated. Well, he's not undefeated on the records. So it doesn't matter that the Patriots had Spygate and Deflategate and the Justin Tuck rule, but they still won. They still won. Okay, the same thing goes with the same thing with Jones. Doesn't matter how he lost, he still got the loss. So shut up with that. I want to hear that crap. So yeah, but he may be the GOAT for most people, but it's just way too suspect. And this last test just, I think, here's one theory I heard. That Jones is doing it on purpose. So one of the tests that he popped for, they're like, there's no way you could have this amount in your system. Right? Like, this is just way too concentrated. So what if he's purposely diluting the test to make his claims to greatness that much better? Because, like, look, we don't know how it's gotten in there. Maybe somebody just hates me. Maybe this, maybe that. He come up with 100 different scenarios, but nothing can be proven. So now you can't call into question his entire career.
Maybe. That's a theory. I've never thought of it.
Yep. I
Like-
mean, once you get caught, do everything you can to make it look like it wasn't your fault by having it randomly show up in such concentrated amounts
Like,
that it's undeniable. Like, oh wait, how did that
so
happen?
you're thinking he might be like microdosing,
No, I'm thinking he's purposely doing it.
like just purposely
This-
taking it.
I don't think that. This is just one of the theories I heard.
Hmm.
Like he is purposely like putting a very high concentration into a test sample somehow. That way they're like, okay, there's no way you could naturally have that much if you're not mainlining it right into that.
I don't know.
Yeah, this is one theory. I was like, that's plausible. I mean, everything's plausible, but I don't know. I just think Jones is he's a work of art, man. He is a self-destructive work of art. The man has all the natural talent to do everything, but for some reason he seems to think he needs PEDs or cocaine and all that shit to get his job done, which he doesn't. I'll never go to a John Jones event. I'll never watch a John Jones event. And anybody who was bitching about this thing getting moved to California for Jones, what the hell did you expect? It's John Jones. It's John Jones. If you're gonna watch John Jones fight, just get ready for everything that happens beforehand. Get ready for the test results when they come back negative. Get ready for the crap that the UFC is gonna do to protect their golden boy. Even though he's not a big draw. Ironically,
He's not.
his
He's
pay per
never
view
been.
numbers are
The
mediocre.
Funny part is he's the only time he's ever actually drew money was with DC.
Yeah, the
Both
second
fights.
fight.
Both fights.
Well,
were
yeah, that's
actually
because
pretty
he
big.
had the push at the stage. And
Other than that, I mean, he's never really drew that much money.
I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna bitch about him, oh, they did all this for Jones so he can go to another state where he can fight. Okay, cool, I get it, but what did you expect? Like, I'm expecting them to come out this week and say, oh yeah, well he pissed hot, like really hot. Like we're not talking picogram levels.
Lava.
Yeah,
It looks like a stream
not
of
talking
like
about-
melted steel.
we're not talking about picogram level. That boy pissed a gallon. So I don't know, man. I'm just so done and over with John Jones at this point. I don't care to talk about it. When anybody talks about it that I know personally or on Twitter, I'm just like, yeah, skip.
Yeah, whatever.
Skip.
We've heard it.
Skip.
Keep going.
Yeah, it's like Pandora and Spotify. Skip this shitty song.
Well, like on Pandora, you remember like when they first, I don't know if it's still the same because I don't use it, but like when you first opened the app and you typed in like whatever band,
They give you one
And-
song from them, the rest
like,
of them was just...
you would never hear that shit again.
Yeah. Unless it was Nickelback. Jesus Christ.
They play all the songs that you didn't want to hear. Like, oh, I don't want that band on their like dislike, and then the next song's from the same band.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Anyway, so that happened, and then right before that fight, the co-main event, the one that I thought was going to be a better fight than anything, and I was right. I think this was the best fight on the card.
I think it was the most surprising fight out of everything.
No, I mean, I thought this was going to be the best fight regardless between the two. I knew they were both game going into it. I didn't know how they were going to finish for sure. I definitely did not see how it was going to happen. Like, I didn't know that was going to happen. I did think Amanda Nunes was going to win though, going into it, because I thought she would have a better game plan. So the co-main event, if you guys haven't already guessed, was Cris Cyborg versus Amanda Nunes. That's what it was billed by, so that's what I'm going to say it by. But essentially what you had was Cris Cyborg walking into a lion's den and just getting destroyed. Right? The lioness came out
That
on
is
top.
exactly what happened in that fight.
Yeah. It was fun to watch, just to sit there and be like, all right, here we go. And they come out swinging, and you can tell that Cyborg hit her once or twice, and it looked like Nunes was like, that was all? Like, I prepared for more than this. Like, she thought Cyborg was this destroyer of women, which she has been since 2005, over 10 years. Yeah.
13 years straight. No
And
loss.
She thought this was going to be a ton of power, gets hit with it, says, oh, I can take it, and then gave some back. And they kept saying it was haymakers, but no, they were very precise shots that she was throwing.
Oh, yeah, they were right on the money. Before she actually knocked her out, there was 3-4 hits right on the button, man. They
Yeah.
were just right on the chin or right on the temple. It was, wow.
I think two things happened. I think Amanda Nunes definitely prepared right. Definitely saw what was coming. She felt her power, thought, yeah, I can take it, and went after it. And I think Cris Cyborg thought she could just come in and bulldoze like she has been for 10, 13 years or whatever. And I think she thought that she can hit her, and then because she comes from a bantamweight, from a lesser weight, she could probably hit her pretty damn hard and then back her up.
Well, Amanda Nunes cuts a lot of weight.
Yeah, she does.
And her natural weight, I think, is even higher than 145.
Well, she came in with a great game plan because they asked her to fight her like 2 months ago or so, 2 or 3 months before the fight.
Yep.
And she said no, she wanted to put on weight. So she spent extra time putting on mass.
Muscle weight, yeah.
Just to fight Cris Cyborg, and it paid off, you know?
I mean, brilliant planning usually wins the day.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman, right? Amanda, when they first started, it was only a minute. That first round was only a minute.
56 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
56 seconds.
So, Amanda got tagged, I think maybe 2 times, and she did back up. I don't think she was. I don't think she thought she could take the power all night, but she definitely knew that she was going to have to put the forward pressure on her real quick to get her from not doing that again. Because Amanda did. She took one really clean shot, and it did. It kind of rocked her because she fell backwards a little bit.
I don't think
either she lost her groove or she lost her step.
I think it like she was preparing to go forward, and then she hit her, and I was like, all right, I got to like collect myself real quick and just get her balance back. I don't think it hurt her.
It was definitely a hard shot, and it did make Amanda retaliate. And when she retaliated, she pretty much walked Cris across the ring.
No, they
switched
swapped.
position. They switched position. Sorry, the camera views.
Yeah.
So when she did get hit, she got out of the way, and then she basically did what Holly Holm did, but without a clinch. She put Cris Cyborg up against the fence.
Yeah.
So Holly Holm exposed Cyborg's clinch weakness whenever she grabbed her and put her up against the cage and walked her around the damn cage after.
Yeah. Cyborg has a problem with being backed up towards the cage.
Cyborg has a problem with being forward pressured. When somebody applies pressure to her, she doesn't know what to do.
She doesn't like going backwards, which is the big thing. Like if you get her in a back step, she's always been a little weak at that. And I was amazed that it took to Holly Holmes for someone to actually like put it in there. And Amanda Nunes perfected that.
Yeah.
So
she put her forward pressure on, and she hit her with the 1-2, and the second one kind of wobbled her. And then when she laid another combo on her, nice flush, clean right hand, pop, put her on the ass.
I did think she did something really smart where she hit her once or twice, and you could tell she was rocked, and then backed off for a second, and then came back in, which was pretty damn smart because she knew
she didn't allow
Cyborg
a clinch.
was going to swipe again.
Yep.
Cyborg was going to throw another hit, and throw another punch, and it completely missed. And then she jumps back in, that's smart on her part because Cyborg at that point was like throwing anything she had. So even though it's a 56-second fight, it was the highlight of the night, which is pretty amazing.
The shot before the actual knockdown that put her on her ground, brilliant.
Yeah,
man, she hit her and she put her on the ground, and Cyborg stumbled up real quick. She got back to her feet, but I think she should have pulled guard and tried to reserve some time.
That would have been interesting.
If she would have pulled guard, I don't think Amanda would have went down there.
No,
but it would have given her a little bit more time to recover.
No, I would think Amanda would probably go. I don't think she would have did BJ Penn style and throw her feet to the side and try to go after her try like Dan Henderson her. Yeah. But I think she would have went towards her guard, try to get into the guard.
I really don't think so because Amanda.
I doubt she would have try to get in side guard that quickly. It's probably half guard or so, but I don't think she would have pursued her rapidly trying to get down there. I don't know.
Yeah, which I think Cyborg could have saved herself by trying to pull guard, or I honestly do.
I don't think Amanda would have been afraid to go down there because she's a black belt.
Yeah, well, I have a black belt.
Yeah, but it's not a legit belt.
Anybody can buy one.
You bought one at Kohl's, she's got one gifted to her from a grandmaster with a giant mustache.
Can't say grandmaster.
A professor, as they like to say in the jiu-jitsu world.
But I honestly don't. I don't think Cris prepared right because I think she thought Amanda didn't have it and she wasn't going to have it and was not going to bring that level of technique, skill, and power with her. And boy, did she bring the power! That final hit that turned her head and put her on the face down, not moving. Boom. It was brilliant. I loved it. I was like, yes!
I 100%.
Somebody killed that bitch finally.
I 100% guarantee I think that's what it was because Cyborg was fairly confident when they announced the fight. And on top of that, she didn't renew her contract earlier this year. And I figured, you got to think about it. Well, she thought she'd be able to go into free agency with the title, which usually means like, oh, I'm going to re-sign again. But it's like, okay, well, she's got the title. We have to re-sign her, so give her what she wants. And you can't do that when you don't have the title. So I think she was just really confident with like I've got no problem holding this title for a while type of mentality there.
I love that fight. I don't want to watch it again, though. I really don't want to watch it again. There's people calling for a rematch because Cyborg was undefeated for 13 years and all this other stuff, but it's like, you just lost in less than a minute.
Well, it's the same.
I really don't think you deserve the rematch right out the gate.
It's the same sort of thing that happened to Aldo,
And Stipe.
It's very hard to sell a rematch when it ends within a minute.
Yeah, when you're finished, when you get finished early on within the first 2-3 rounds, no. I really don't think you deserve one right away. If you go the full distance and it's a barn burner, like the very first Alex and Gustafsson fight with Jones, that should have had an immediate rematch.
Yep.
When they were both, in their prime, and one of them was juiced.
Yeah, it's just really hard to resell it. I don't want to see it immediately, but I don't know where Cyborg can go in that division. I don't know if UFC is going to keep that division.
I really don't think they would.
But I did think about this the day afterwards. Like, how would the women's division pan out, and how could you sell further fights with Amanda Nunes? Because Amanda Nunes ran through the bantamweight division, right? She's basically beat every contender there is.
Well, she could fight Zingano to avenge her loss to her.
But Zingano just lost. So there's going to she's lost, so can't quite do it. And plus she's got like retina damage right now.
Yeah, that was a nasty head kick from Megan Anderson. So
my whole thought about it is like, how do you go forward from this? So think about it this way.
Call Rousey.
Think about it this way. Nunes and her fiance Nina recently announced they're getting married in March, right? So you schedule a fight just before their wedding, like a week and a half before wedding, for Nina versus Rose, right? Have her fight for the championship.
What if she gets a black eye or a bloody nose for a wedding? They don't want to do that.
Let me, or even when, just around there, because they're going to take time off for their wedding, It doesn't have to be the week before or whatever, but just around the time. Schedule it for the fight. Give Nina the shot at the championship for Rose, because Rose has got to defend pretty soon, and Nina is like the number 2, right? She just beat Claudia, right? Mm-hmm. So you have her scheduled for that. So you got that going. Say Nina wins, right? Nina wins. She's the champion. Hurrah. You can either have her defend there. At the same time, you have her defend. You have the Bullet on the same card, right? And whoever wins out of that, say Nina wins again, Bullet wins again, them two go on to double champ the strawweight and the flyweight division, right? Because Nina fought at bantamweight before, so she can obviously make the flyweight division. Say the Bullet and Nina fight, the Bullet wins, right? So now you have a story, that whole story there.
Yeah,
you have a story for the Bullet versus Nunes 3, right? And you can have it for the bantamweight belt. And by then, nobody has lost their belt. You've had multiple championship fights. The only loser in this one will be Rose because she lost her belt to Nina. And it's a good story. It's an overarching story. So then that'll take probably a whole year. In the meantime, you'd have Nunes fight Megan Anderson for the 45 belt, right? That way you have everything kind of keep going. And in the meantime, with the bantamweight situation, you can have a couple number 1 contender fights in there. I think that's a good story for the whole thing, and probably keep people interested in the fights too.
I don't want to see Rose lose the belt.
She's got to defend it sometime.
Yeah, no, dude, she's got to defend. Honestly, I'm getting tired of champions not defending their fucking belts. Like, what's the point of having it if you're not going to defend it?
We live in a post-Conor world, all right?
Yeah, I know, right? Love Conor to death. Change the sport. But, man, not defending the belt. God damn it.
Yeah, it's that's the way I see it going. Going like that. That would be the interesting way to put it. That would keep people into it.
Isn't Nina on like a 6-fight win streak right now?
Yeah, she's like three, 4 fights.
I think she's on 4 fights.
She won all her fights last year.
I don't know what they're going to do with the women's division now that Cyborg is dethroned.
Yeah, that's a good question.
And Amanda seems to be the wall that a lot of people can't get around, no matter how legendary you are.
Yeah.
Rousey, Tate.
The last person to
Cyborg.
beat her was Zagano,
Yep.
and that was a while back. That was before she fought Rousey. That was before Zagano fought Rousey. So that was a good while ago.
I wouldn't mind seeing that rematch.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. You did learn something from Megan Anderson's last one. If you're gonna win a fight, just kick a bitch in the eye. That's the easiest way to finish a fight in the UFC.
I'm telling you, that was a bad kick.
Did you see the still shot?
Yeah.
Ooh, it was so rough to watch live too.
Ugh. I thought she ruptured her eye too.
She got retina damage from it. She's got a couple other things with her eye.
Yeah, I would think so. Her toenail went through her freaking eyelid.
Well, it didn't go through it, like scraped the hell out of it, but like it pushed her eye back into her socket.
Oh,
like
man.
damaged some shit.
It's gonna take a long time for that to heal.
Oh yeah, it's rough.
She ain't coming back quick.
Yeah, she had to take a little time off.
No, after she just took all this other time off.
Yeah.
Cat's probably done.
Yeah, I'm always for Kat. I've watched her since she was in Invicta, Like, I think it was Invicta 3, where she was fighting Raquel Pennington. But, she's had this time off, and it was by no fault of her own. She had a whole, like, husband situation, I believe. And she took some time off because of it, which is well-deserved. But, it was her time to come back, and then something bad happened. She got hurt. So hopefully it doesn't take forever to come back, because I know the eye is like one of the fastest healing organs. So hopefully she's back within a year.
Yeah, I mean, I hope she comes back. I hope she comes back at all.
Yeah. I just don't know how they're going to do the women's division from now on, because you got to be able to tell sort of a story to sell pay-per-views, to sell your product. I think that's the easiest way to sell it.
That's what the embedded series is for.
Yeah, but they never show the good shit,
Yeah.
They never show, like, the reaction of the fighters, like the rest of the fighters, when they were like, we're moving it from here to here. And the rest of the fighters were like, I just spent, like, $30,000 on a fucking fight camp, Like, $30,000 on a fight camp, plus moving my whole shit here, all this other shit, and then now I gotta move my shit again, because this fucker, like, they don't show that reaction. Like when Corey Anderson was telling the post-fight interviews, like, they're mistreating him. That would have been great on Embedded, because he's such a character that it'd been great to see his reaction, be like, motherfucker,
I definitely think the UFC has some internal communication problems they need to sort out.
Yeah, like telling your fighters that the whole thing moved over social media, besides calling them,
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Not my job. I don't get paid for that.
You get paid?
I don't get paid for anything. I barely get paid in my job.
This is not the place or the time to...
You know what else I hate about my job?
And another thing.
Sorry. It's bugging me.
What the fuck are you doing?
I don't know. It's bugging me. But with 232 out of the way, we did wrap up a really good year of fights. Man, there were some big ones. There was the Conor and Khabib bullshit before and after. The fight was great, and then there was the mess after. There was the Ortega and Holloway fight that happened right before, which was beautiful.
The interesting part is, out of all the good fights this year, right, all the great ones, there was always something about it to overshadow the fight itself, right? There was always a little bit of controversy around the fight to overshadow it. You had the Conor Khabib, and then the brawl right afterwards. Everyone talks about the brawl, but no one talks about the fight.
Right.
Besides the fact that Conor lost,
Yeah, and then on the Holloway and Ortega, everybody was talking about Holloway's health beforehand.
Yeah.
Because he had missed weight and had some weird health issues at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, the Jones drug scare again.
I don't really think that was a drug scare. I think that was confirmed.
But there was always some sort of issue with it before around these big fights, I should say. And that's something that brings a lot of PR to it, but I don't know, it depends on what happened, for it to overshadow it. It's interesting. I hope everything's just like, hey, these two guys are going to fight. Then they go fight, and it's over. Kind of like the Cejudo, not Dillashaw, Cejudo and the Mighty Mouse fights, where it was like, they fought. It's over. He won.
Yep. I mean, 2018 was a really good year for fights. It really was.
Yeah, and we learned a lot about what's possible, like trades. You can do trades, which opens a whole new world.
Ben Askren's got his fight coming up.
We also learned that you can run a whole promotion doing points. Did you watch the PFL by
I
chance?
did not watch PFL, but I heard and read a lot about it.
Now, if you guys haven't watched the PFL, I do advise you to watch it. It's pretty fun. They have a whole season with every weight class and depends on your points and the brackets and all this stuff. And it's kind of hard to follow at first, but eventually you're like, okay, I kind of understand. Especially when it starts to dwindle down to the last couple people in each division. But I like it. I think I'm going to follow it a little bit more, That it seems fun. Bellator's putting on a lot better fights, especially with their tournament. Especially with their tournament aspect. It's going pretty well. I think they have the welterweight tournament coming up, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, because they had the heavyweight tournament. Now they're having the welterweight. That's going to be fun. I'm kind of bummed that Musasi's not in that one. He got hurt, which sucks, but it is what it is. So it was pretty fun. Bellator's got a bunch of events going on now that are pretty good. One Championship's supposed to make their whole push towards America and North America, as they say on the brochure.
Yep, that should
which
be
should
happening.
be fun. That should be fun to watch. There's a lot of things happening this year. It's pretty good. I would advise you to watch more MMA.
Oh, I'm getting around to it, man. Don't get me wrong. I'm getting around to it.
You
I'm starting
and the
dabbling
listeners.
I'm starting to dabble more with Bellator. It's the other local stuff and stuff that I have to find online takes up my time.
You and the listeners start watching more MMA. That's kind of the thing.
Analysts?
More MMA. Should I say?
You want me to analyze more MMA?
Okay. You and the listeners
Listener, you didn't say that. You
should
said
watch
analyst.
more MMA. What's an analyst?
I don't know. That's what you said.
All right, analysts.
Anal fist.
Anal fist.
It's like a medical condition.
Oh, man, he's got the anal fist.
Oh, no. Is his mom
Oh,
though?
did you get that from Jennifer, bro?
Oh, I think so.
I thought she had the...
I don't get it. Oh, the clap.
Yeah, you got it.
I got you.
You got it. He knows. He knows.
So outside of 2018 being a good year for the UFC and all around the MMA community, there was a lot of good fights. A lot of stuff happened locally. A lot of stuff happened with the PFL. Bellator made some good moves. Their last event was in Hawaii. Beat the UFC to Hawaii. Who else we got? We got the Askren Mighty Mouse trade. It was a big year for UFC and just MMA community all around. So I'm looking forward to 2019 and what that brings out. And although we're starting off kind of rocky, they have already canceled the first event for the UFC, 233, because they were having some headlining issues, which
I know we've talked about earlier, but why did they not change the numbers for the rest of them?
so
It seems so easy.
I guess it's already set and all the marketing's done for it for some of them. So they're like, fuck it, it's a canceled one. They did the same thing with another one back. The only other canceled event they
It
had.
just seems kind of dumb.
Who you telling, man? They could have moved Gustafson and Jones to that one, given us more time for them to train, and then give us more time to go over the shitty explanation of a picogram.
You know what's funny about that is it's 100% right. They could have moved it, but when they asked Dana at the press conference, like, why didn't you just move it? He had that answer set, like, oh, we could have just moved it to March. Like, they were discussing that at one point. Why don't we just move it to March? And something happened where they're like, shit, we got to make money.
Why? You made a shitload of money already.
I don't understand it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, here's, like, they sold the tickets for the Las Vegas show beforehand. It was sold out.
Yeah.
So if they
They
came
lost
out,
$5 million at the gate.
if they came out and was like, hey, we're going to move this to March, they still have those tickets sold, right? And there's going to be a percentage that comes back, but they still have the majority of it sold, right? And plus, if you do go, you can see amazing fights all the way up there. I guess they were just worried about how many people were on the main card. But even then, like, it was still a pretty good card, even if you take the Jones fight off.
You would have still had time to find some other main event. Some other co-main event.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I'm not a promoter. I don't work in the business or the industry. I'm a fan. Not a fan of some of the shit they do, but I'm a fan.
Ugh. I don't know, man. It's just weird. It was weird.
Anything you're looking forward to this year, 2019?
Looking forward to possibly doing some more promotions locally. Going to a couple of them. Maybe some higher up, bigger promotions than that. Looking into that, guys. Try to get a couple guests on here. Maybe, hopefully. That's big picture stuff we're working on.
And we will be looking to branch out into one of our other fields, comics, games.
Yeah, we'll have some more stuff on the
nerd pop culture.
The YouTube channel. We'll have some more different types of podcasts that you'll look into that and go, oh wow, I didn't realize they were really into comics and recasting stuff and Harry Potter and Jedis
Nerd
and other stuff.
Loser.
Says the guy who paints Gundams.
And this is where I insert the clip of me shooting Jacob. Shut up! You don't talk shit about my hobby!
We don't just have a fond interest in just MMA. We have it in other stuff
We
we're going to talk
also
about.
like other things along the examples of... Say something.
That's where you're supposed to talk.
Along the lines of Gunpla, comic books, video games, MMA.
Why are you talking like a shitty...
Because I'm going to do a scrolling
Sunday
marquee
morning-
right here.
Sunday morning, furniture store.
No,
ad.
early at night.
We have mattresses and sofas of all kinds. Come on down to Jimmy's Furniture Store, located off exit ramp 35 in Turnpike C, next to the fried chicken place.
Anyways.
Then you have to have the glass shatter.
Jim Adler.
Prices.
I'm Jim Adler. Estoy Jim Adler. Have you heard the Spanish version?
No, does it
He's
do that?
just as angry.
Oh, let me ask you this: growing up, did you like the Jim Adler commercials or the Brian Longcar commercials?
Brian Longcar.
The strong arm.
The strong arm.
Was it because he was less aggressive?
Yes. He didn't yell at you. I'm Jim Adler, the tough Texas hammer.
Did you think it was? Did you think it was funny?
I think he was just trying to spoof old school wrestling promos.
Oh yeah.
Did you know, brother?
Did you think it was funny when his kid took over? When his kid started putting out the ads with him?
No.
Yeah, his kid does it now. Have you seen the commercials?
No.
Yeah, his kid's I think he's maybe closer to your age, and he's got his own hammer.
Oh wow.
No?
Is it a little hammer?
I hope so, right? But you know how he had the sledgehammer?
Yeah.
He has his own now. If you look at it, it's all brand new, never touched a thing of concrete in its life. It's got a leather gripper on the bottom, and you're like, yeah, I can understand how you would buy that if your dad was a fucking millionaire, you know?
Yeah, I get you. But it's gonna wrap up this show, guys. Be the first one for the new year. Hopefully, we'll get some MMA news out to you, and we can start our other projects very soon. We had some equipment issues, not the kind that requires pills, but the kind that requires service and tech.
However, if you do have equipment issues, our new sponsor, Blue Chew, if you... They're not our sponsor, they're not our sponsor.
Is
Sorry,
that even
guys.
a company?
It's on Pot. You ever heard the
No.
shit? Yeah, it's on like Chip Chipperson's podcast.
Oh wow.
He has it on there. I think Jim and Sam, they do it on theirs. Yeah, it's like Viagra, but like a gum, like a gummy.
All right.
They're not our sponsor. They don't pay us.
We have nothing to do with that. Besides, it's probably gonna get cut out of this anyways.
Thanks, guys, for supporting us for over half a year. I think since July is when we started this. Thanks for the support. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing, telling your friends about it, sending out a pigeon, telegraphs, Facebook, Instagram, taking a scratch of paper, writing our name on, throwing it off a bridge. What do you call it? Smoke signals. Any other type of way to get the message across that we have a podcast. That helps. Thank you, guys. Justin, do you have anything else?
No.
Okay. Look for us on Twitter at HookedJP.
Or at HookedJustin.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Hook J Podcast. Hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next episode.
Sometimes you've got to do what's right for you and not do what's right for everybody else.